hey, I'm working on my short sword. What I'm up to right now, I'll show you, it's kind of cool. This is my sword. It's a 73 layers of Damascus. Should make a nice sword. It is a random pattern. I'm trying to do what's called a FishMouth weld. If you look, it kind of looks like a fish mouth. This is part of the actual billet I cut out. And I'm going to take this back to the forge, draw these two together, and then do an actual forge weld here. And that will define the point on the sword. But it actually will give the pattern a nice curvature towards the point so it flows nicely. So stay tuned. I'm going to see if I can get a nice weld and you guys can watch. There I'm getting my forge going, just getting where it's starting to draft, so it's kind of a cool side view of it. You can see the chimney is pulling it in really nicely, and I don't even really have it burning good yet, so stay tuned. Okay, first step here, guys. All I'm going to be trying to do right now is just bring the 2 points down so they're in good proximity to each other. The goal here is to not distort anything other than to get a nice slow closure of this fish mouth, as they call it. So we're just going to take our time here. The key with any kind of a forge weld is not to go and rush it. Bending steel should be easy. So just stay tuned. I'm going to keep heat number 2 here. Always important when you're doing stuff like this to continue to rotate your stock so you're not just striking on one side. Okay? That's really, really important with any, nothing to do with trying to make a short sword. It's just working steel. Basics, so. So we have the tip touching here, but I'm not close, so I'm going to try to heat back a little further and cover that part. Alright, so we're going to try to get the tail end of this to close, because right now what we've got is opening towards the back, but the front of it seems to be pretty good. And I'm trying not to let these overlap each other. But there's a tendency right now to want to do that. I may actually do. I'm afraid I'm going to distort it too much. I may cool it and just cut a little bit more material off of the tip with the grinder to bring it together. So I'm going to have everybody stay tuned for that part, I guess, here in just a second. Let me try to get this flattened out as best I can. And we'll go on to that part next. So stay tuned, guys. Alright, so we're back. We open this a little bit. We're going to see if it'll come together a little bit better for me now. See how we do. This is a new weld for me, so I'm learning as we go. I practiced a few times on some 1095, just regular stock, you know, that I have laying around, just to get the technique down, and I seem to get some pretty good welds with it. This is a little thicker, and it is Damascus, so I don't know. We'll just see how it comes together here. Okay, we're getting them to close up. Okay, I'm gonna put a little flux. Together pretty nice here, so I'm just going to kind of, a couple spots have expanded a little bit, or thickened. I'm just going to try to get them back down. I got to get that to close a little tighter before I feel comfortable really getting flux in there, because I don't want to get a big glob of flux caught in that crack and have that block the weld from occurring. Okay guys, I think we're ready to start doing some flux on this and really concentrate on getting a good closure. You may comment that I'm hitting this a little lighter than some people would, but you know, I've got a lot of time into making this billet, and I'm new to doing fish welds, I'm new to doing swords, done a lot of knives. Real comfortable with knives, real comfortable with Damascus, but I also don't like to mess up a billet that I'm this far along. So I'm using Iron Mountain Flux, it's my favorite. A lot of controversy there. A lot of people just go with good old borax, and I do too if I run out of this, but this is definitely my preference. So. Billet, we're getting it a little hotter this time. Not quite ready. I'm watching the flux, making sure I get it to do what it's got to do to melt and kind of seal out. The key is not to get oxygen in the weld or other contaminants. That is what fouls a weld. And flux, it'll melt and kind of form this gel-like barrier, and that is what lets the metal surfaces that come in contact with each other to diffuse weld together. Oxygen is the #1 contaminator of a weld. You will never get a good weld if you end up with oxygen in it. So the key here is not to rush the weld. So I'm going to really keep an eye on this. I'm just about there. Some people will check with magnets and stuff. Once you've done a few, you kind of get, once you've done enough, I guess, I don't want to say a few, you get pretty good at gauging how the metal looks and what the flux is doing on the surface of the steel. That tells you a lot. And this baby is ready now. So go ahead and get her a couple good pounds. Nothing hard. I'm just trying to make sure I bring these pieces into good close contact with each other. I'm going to go over and just kind of make sure I'm not missing anything. I'll do, after I'm pretty confident that I have a good weld, I'll go back and try to do a little bit of flattening. Some of these edges, you know, that I'm actually pounding on are widening a little bit, which is just because that's how steel works under pressure. So it's looking good right now, though. I'm pretty excited. Gonna go ahead and do it a couple more times to get a good weld. Even when I'm making a billet, usually 3 if not 4 heats to actually feel like I've got a good weld, and then you can begin to draw it out. If you rush that, you can get these cold shuts in, you know, basically spots where the weld didn't take place, and these become apparent later on when you're trying to make the knife. I'm just giving a little bit more pressure now as I try to define the weld a little better here. It's looking good though. I'm pretty happy so far. Can you hit stop? Can you hit stop on there, please? I'm going to try to work a little bit more now on the tip because I'm not quite sure I got a good weld going down there yet. So, and this is really delicate because you're talking about a real fine spot here. And so when you're working this tip like this, if you're up near the corner of the anvil like this, what happens is so part of your hammer is coming off the backside, but it gives you a nice, you know, concentrated angle hit right on the spot where I'm trying to concentrate my efforts. And again, I'm sure you'll notice there's nothing here that can be accomplished with force. This is not a job here where force will do anything other than screw it up. This is a really thing that a lot of people won't do when they're making an axe or sword or whatever, but this little extra effort should give me a very unique pattern tip at the tip. So that's the goal here, and I'm just going to take my time. This is not going to be something I'm rushing. So keep on watching if it's interesting to you. If it's boring, well, move on to the next one. So we're getting a nice thing going here, though. Okay, I'm going to start down at the tip. Just kind of make sure I got a good weld going there, and I'm going to kind of work my way back a little bit here. I think I've got a pretty solid weld here at this point. And I'm going to kind of work on just cleaning it up now and seeing what I got, okay? Looking good. Take a look at what we've got here. Get some of this flux that kind of coats itself on here. See how well this is looking here. Sometimes it's a little real tricky to see this when you have this coating of flux. So, okay. So, I can see my weld line. I'm still a little concerned I might not be welded quite good enough at the tip. I'm going to kind of coax that a little bit more. I'm not too sure that you guys will see that. Sometimes it's a little tricky because you can see the line, but that doesn't mean that it's not a weld, you know. It's even when I do up a big old billet, you know, and I've been working it for a long time, I can still sometimes spot the line. And you always wonder, you know, is that a weld or not? No light's coming through it, so I'm going to work it a little more and we'll find out. I'm still concentrating on this tip. I just wasn't super happy with how it was looking when I cleaned off the slag on, or the scale from the weld, so I just want to, you know, you put so much time in, you just want to try to make sure you got a good weld before you go to the next step. So if it's getting boring, I understand. I won't be offended if you go find a different channel to look at. Not in the least. Well, there's what we're up against. It's looking very nice now. I'm pretty happy. I'm going to start trying to get these edges where I was working, just kind of back down where they should be. One of the keys I've been really learning on the sword, whatever you do to one side, you got to do to the other side, because that's how you do the edges. So you can't just concentrate on one or the other. Okay, it is looking good. Back in the fire, and we're just going to keep cleaning that up, and then we got one step more done towards having a cool sword. Just so you know, this is my very first sword I've done. I've been slowly making larger and larger blades. I've got, you know, 16, 18, 19-inch Bowie knife, and I wanted to always do a sword. I don't think I'll ever be able to do anything longer than what I'm doing unless I change my setup, because my forge is limiting right now, and my ability to heat treat is limited if I go any longer than I am. And, you know, a lot of people who do this for a profession, you know, they'll send them out to be heat treated because they can do it. They're making money on it and stuff. I'm doing this part for fun. I hope to just get better and better at it. I sell a few along the way, but that's not my goal. I'm just going to continue to have fun doing this as long as I can, as long as my body holds out. I have time in my life to do it right now in my career. So I'm really enjoying it and learning a lot of stuff. I mean, prior to getting into this, never realized how intense and detailed metalworking was. You know, you just think it's metal. What's the big deal? I'm telling you. Alright, so I'm continuing to, you can see it, it looks pretty good here. Continuing to work my edges where I was, they kind of got bulged up a little bit here. Looking good. Blade tip refinement here. I'm pretty confident I've got a good weld going. I'm really happy for my first real FishMouth weld. I don't know if that's the official name of it, but it's pretty no-brainer when you look at it. That's what it looks like, right? I'm gonna just do a little bit more cleaning up here and then clean it up on the grinder. I'm actually going to go back and remark out some of my scale lines on it, because I'm doing a lot of planning with this and researching on weight and balance and things like that that before I started this I never even thought about, but apparently they're very important when it comes to making a sword of any type that has what I would like to deem real quality to it. Balance and all does vary depending on its intended use, but Anyhow, that there is a FishMouth weld. So now my Damascus should actually point. That's the goal of this. So we'll see. So I've got the sword in the vise now. Just kind of letting it cool. And I'm just going to clean it up a little bit more. But right now, looking pretty good if you ask me. So not bad for a rookie sword maker, eh? All right, stay tuned. Hope to have some more videos coming your way. Okay, this is just a quick video to show you this. I cleaned it up a little bit. I think I've got good welds here. I still have some fold over there I haven't flattened out. I just wanted to see. I can actually, you probably can't see. I can actually see some of the pattern in here. It's really pretty. I'm really going to see how this turns out. So that's it. That's where I'm at for the night. I'm going to probably stop. One thing I've learned about Damascus and knife making is getting tired. It's time to hang it up for the night. Okay, that's when you start making screw ups. So going to be really cool. Stay tuned if this is the kind of stuff you're interested in.